At the prestigious law firm of Wallace and Stone, nestled in the heart of downtown Chicago, legal victories were expected and excellence was routine. But what happened in courtroom 3C on a rainy Thursday morning would remind everyone, clients and colleagues alike, that brilliance recognizes no color and respect is not a matter of age or status. Jamal Carter was a 24-year-old law student in his third year at Northwestern. He had earned a summer internship at Wallace and Stone after finishing at the top of his class and publishing a widely read article on constitutional litigation. Ambitious, well-spoken, and sharp as a tack, Jamal had dreams of becoming a civil rights attorney. But like many first-generation black professionals, he was used to having to prove himself, often more than once. From his first day at the firm, Jamal noticed subtle and not-so-subtle slights. His ideas were sometimes ignored until repeated by others. He was called "kid" by senior associates and occasionally mistaken for administrative staff by clients. But nothing stood out quite like Robert Langston. Langston was a senior partner, white, mid-50s, Harvard Law, and known for both his legal prowess and an ego that filled every corner of a room. During Jamal's second week, Langston quipped at a staff meeting, "Didn't know we were doing charity internships now," when Jamal introduced himself and his background. Some chuckled uncomfortably. Jamal didn't. He'd heard worse, but it still stung. Fast forward to a major civil litigation case that Wallace and Stone had been struggling with for months. A high-stakes, multi-million-dollar suit involving complex contract law and potential constitutional implications. When the lead associate fell ill 2 weeks before trial, the case was in jeopardy. Jamal quietly offered to help. Over 5 sleepless days, Jamal pored through statutes, precedent, and obscure legal commentary. He drafted a 37-page legal brief that restructured the firm's entire argument around a novel interpretation of third-party liability. The brief was airtight, citing over a dozen state and federal cases, bolstered by historical precedent, and written with clarity and conviction. When he handed it to Langston for review, the older lawyer barely glanced at it before smirking and tossing it onto a cluttered desk. "You write this yourself?" Langston said, half laughing. "Hope you didn't just cut and paste from Google." Jamal held his composure. "Every word, sir." Langston didn't reply. He didn't have to. But the brief made it to court, largely because the junior partners, recognizing its quality, insisted on using it. In the courtroom, Langston delivered the arguments, but they were Jamal's words. The judge took keen interest in the brief's logic, referencing it several times, and even complimenting the clarity and boldness of its assertions. When the ruling came down days later, it was decisive. The firm won. At the next morning meeting, Langston strolled in triumphantly, nodding at praise from colleagues. But when a junior partner publicly acknowledged Jamal's authorship of the winning brief, the room fell momentarily silent. Langston looked up, forced a half smile, and muttered, "Well, I guess the kid's got something." Jamal didn't flinch. "It's Carter. Jamal Carter." Within a week, the managing partner personally invited Jamal to stay on through the fall. Another senior partner offered mentorship. And when the firm updated their website with a celebratory post about the case win, Jamal's name was credited in bold as the author of the defining legal argument. Later that summer, he would be offered a full-time position upon graduation, an offer he graciously declined. Instead, Jamal accepted a clerkship with a federal appellate judge and announced his plans to start a nonprofit legal center focused on racial justice and economic equity. When asked what he took away from the experience, Jamal responded simply, "Let your work speak, but make sure they know your name when it does." His brief didn't just win the case, it cracked the facade of elitism and reminded an entire room full of lawyers that brilliance doesn't always come wearing the labels they expect.